We hardly ever talk about debt on this channel, but I do talk and tackle debt together with my coaching clients in my programs. And right now I'm preparing a webinar for a large group of employees on the same subject. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I shared some work in progress in my stories there. So I thought it'd be a good idea to add debt as a subject to this channel. And today I'm starting with the most important, in my view, part of having debt: shame. Hey, I'm Marta, welcome back to my channel. Why is shame so important? Because if you have shame attached to the fact that you have debt, you're less likely to do something about it. And you're going to be so tangled up in your feeling of shame that you're going to not see the solution. When I tell somebody I teach how to pay off debt, people who don't or never had debt treat it most often with one of these two attitudes. Oh, it's so easy. You simply live within your means, don't spend what you don't have. That's attitude one. And you teach how to pay off debt? Do people really need training on that? That's attitude two. If you are one of those people, I have a request. Recognize how privileged you are and suspend your judgment for the length of this video and the comment section. Thank you. If, on the other hand, you do have debt, no matter the amount, and carry a lot of shame connected to that debt, get ready for a pep talk. You are in the majority. Chances are you like me. You don't like statistics, numbers, and I don't know, if you were diagnosed with some awful disease, for example, you'd rather keep on living your life day by day than keep on Googling how long have I got and subconsciously giving yourself a potential deadline. Well, that progressed quickly from numbers to literal deadlines. Well, I've been reading this book by Henry Marsh and it's clearly very fresh in my head and dominates my pool of analogies. Have you read any of Henry's books? He's a retired neurosurgeon in London and an excellent writer. I really recommend his books. Love Henry. Okay, let's go back to shame and debt now. So, as I was saying, you don't like numbers, and that's fair play. I'm not a born accountant either. So I won't share dull statistics, and you, in return, trust me when I tell you that most people do have debt. That is common, that is popular, that is the celebrity in personal finance, which means you're not in the minority. Now take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Does it feel a bit better already? Great. Let's move on. If most people have debt, we can easily say that it's a standard way of living. Most of us at some point will face these things. We want to get educated, so we need a loan. We want to buy a house, we need a mortgage, another type of loan. We want to change our car, for those of you who do have a car, or for those of us who don't, let's say carpets in the house, and we buy them with the help of a payment plan. And that's fine, right? So why, when you're drowning in debt, when you end up in debt because of systemic poverty, illness, loss of unemployment, or simply a series of bad decisions or bad luck, you are shamed? Here's why. Sometimes humans aren't most empathic. This is the first way I'd like you to look at that word. We're not born equal. And that lack of equality continues throughout our lives. There is no fairness or justice in this world. And maybe you were dealt weak cards to play with. It happens. It happened to you. And I'm truly sorry it did. But I regret much more that you attached shame to that misfortune. So for now, whenever you feel ashamed because of your debt, keep in mind that shame is an acronym and explain to yourself, I was conditioned to feel shame by the society I live in. It will take me a while, a long while, to stop feeling it. But I know there are plenty of people just like me, and I wouldn't judge them for having debt, and I won't judge myself for having debt either. You are not your debt. So you start thinking about your debt. This could happen anywhere and anytime, of course. When you get paid, or when you consider next year's expenses, or simply when listening to your friend's holiday report. And you think you've got this. You think whatever feelings turn up, you can manage them. Until it turns out that your mind has some other plans. And soon the spiral of shame starts forming. What do you do then? The best thing to do is to realize that you are in control of how this spiral, this cycle progresses. Let's say it goes like this. I need to save up for Dad's birthday. This is your first thought. I'm so broke. This is the second one. I'm always broke. You can see it spirals. And now I need to pay off my credit card. It gets worse. Will this ever end? Even worse. It wouldn't need to end if I hadn't been so stupid in the past. There you go. Why was I so dumb? Because I'm an idiot. Simple. Other people have it sorted and I'm a complete failure. I've always been a failure. I am a failure. I will be a failure. What's the point of even trying? I'll be a failure until I die. Do you recognize this pattern? Can you see the spiral? Can you see the cycle? It works like that for anxiety and it works just like that for shame. Now, each of these statements, the things you tell yourself in that moment, are what I call invitations to disagree. And each one is a step in your shame cycle. One step, not more. When you dare to question those thoughts, you give yourself a chance to step back and think more rationally. Because let's face it, these thoughts are not rational, controlled process. It's a flood of uncomfortable emotions that get your thinking out of control and move you down and down that spiral. So when you tell yourself, I'm always broke, stop and then ask, is that true? Is this actually a fact? Remember, always is always. No exceptions. If the answer is no, quickly follow it up with 3 examples of when you were not broke. I'm pretty sure there will be even small examples when you were not broke. And that is breaking that cycle. So you need to disprove your false theory then and there. When you tell yourself you're an idiot, again, stop and think again. Does an idiot know they're an idiot? I don't think so. Quickly come up with 3 reasons, 3 situations, 3 events in your life that prove you're quite smart. This is the way to break the shame cycle, the spiral of thinking that leads to that dark place in which you feel like a kid hiding under their bed. Because this is something that is a fact. You are not your dad. You are far more interesting, fun, and smart than your dad. Your dad does not define you as a human, as a person. And your worth is not measured by the size of your net worth. If it's minus, if it's negative, believe me, it's not what you are. You are much more than this. So start learning to believe it yourself. Grab a piece of paper or a notebook on your phone, and every time that feeling of shame tries to snag you, tries to win your attention, journal away. Let all those thoughts come out. Then one by one, disprove them, reframe, disagree, and if it makes you feel better, throw away that note right after. This is a healing process and a fight, and I'm rooting for you to win. You are changing your present and your future. I'm a huge fan of meditation, and so I'm going to invite you to a simple meditative exercise right now. Nothing intense, something very, very simple, I promise. If you can, close your eyes right now for this. If you can't, if that's too much or impossible for you at this time, stay as you are. Now, think of some event in the past. It can be a neutral event. And see how your body reacts when you mentally transport yourself to that past experience. Now think of an event in the future. Possibly something you're looking forward to, or maybe the day you've become debt-free. How does that feel? How has your body's reaction changed between the past and the future? And now come back to this very moment. Think of right now. Become aware of your surroundings and your body. How does that feel? If your eyes are closed, you can open them now. The point of this exercise is to show you two things. One, that your body will react to the images created by your mind. I know this is quite obvious, but really, how many times have you given yourself an opportunity to notice, to observe how this happens, to compare between these three very different states? And the other thing I wanted to show you with the help of this exercise is that it's impossible to think of past, present, and future at the same time. This is very important and very useful when you're tackling your debt and that feeling of shame. Shame belongs to the past. It's being dragged to the present, but it doesn't belong here. And it's in your power to keep it there. And most certainly it's your job to keep reminding it where it actually truly belongs. Present and future are where our lives happen. We plan for the future, not for the past. Sure, some of you might plan to go through carefully curated family photo albums and read your teenage journals in your retirement, but that's also a plan that needs to be executed now for it to happen later. Focus on now and later. This is something I keep working on with my clients. Switch from the past, how did I end up in debt in the first place mindset, to how do I pay off my debt now so I can have a better future mindset. You can't do anything about the former. You can do a lot about the latter. And so this is the third way to deal with your shame around debt. Keep in mind that you're actively changing your present and future for the better. And that is bold. It's courageous. It's good for you, often extremely hard, but in the end, kind to you and definitely smart. So give yourself permission to celebrate instead of beating yourself up. And that is it, guys. These are the ways to deal with shame around having debt. I hope you found value in this video and will practice, if not all, then at least some of those approaches. And one last thing, there's a more positive way to think of shame as an acronym. Show heartwarming and massive empathy. And that is something you definitely should practice towards yourself, on top of towards those who lack it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.